Good morning. This is Marvin Lindsay. I'm the senior pastor of First Presbyterian Church.
And this is Preston Turley, Director of Contemporary Worship at First Presbyterian Church.
Good morning.
Good morning, Marvin. So as we're looking forward to worship this Sunday, I was planning and reading in Acts chapter 13, which would be the passage that we're in for worship this Sunday, reading about the early church sending out its first missionaries and preparing for that process. And one of the things that stuck out to me that they did was the discipline or the process of fasting.
Mm-hmm.
And thinking about how we utilize different disciplines in the church now, certain things that they did in this passage we still do. They do a laying on of hands and they pray together, but we don't really fast, especially corporately as a church, very much. And so would be interested to hear your thoughts on why fasting throughout history has been such an integral part of spiritual formation for people, but then also why maybe it's not as much a practice that's not utilized as much anymore in the modern church. So what do you think that is?
Oh, okay. Well, fasting has a lot of meanings. The Old Testament people fasted, and usually it was either because they were confessing their sins, so it's like an intense form of confession, like, God, I'm really, really sorry. Or at times like a really intense form of an intercessory prayer. God, I really, really want to know something. We really need to know something. Early Christians also had different reasons as well. Sometimes, really fasting was a matter of survival. In times of food shortages, people who were healthy, they abstained from food so they could share their food with somebody else in the congregation who who didn't have as much food. There's also this idea that we're composite creatures. We are bodies and souls. We are like a mixture of matter and spirit, and we have a choice. And it's important to keep those two in balance. And so the idea is that if we're kind of eating all the time, sleeping late all the time, kind of pampering our bodies all the time, then our spirit side may atrophy. And so the purpose of fasting is to deny your body for a period of time so that you can be filled spiritually. So for all of those different reasons, Christians fasted. I don't really know why it's fallen out of fashion, but I think maybe it's just the material abundance around us in this society. There's just we've kind of we've abandoned this practice, and we we eat without thinking because there's food is just kind of everywhere around us. And so the question is, if food is so taken for granted by us, if we just kind of graze, then maybe are we taking for granted that spiritual side of us and that aspect of us that needs to be filled with the bread of life, that needs the presence and power of God's Spirit. So I think it's really important for Christians to if you're healthy, if you're able-bodied, to rediscover the process of fasting. So we're going to talk a little bit about that because we're moving into a period of time in our congregation of discerning God's will for us for the future. And so it's important that as we make plans for the future, as we engage in this process of strategic planning, that we don't simply rely on our own wisdom and abilities, but that we listen to what God's will is for our congregation, and a way to do that is to fast.
Right. Yeah. No, I think it's fantastic. And so, as an invitation to all of you, something that we'll be doing at worship this Sunday, which is one service at
10 a.m.
10 a.m. At the offering in the Ramsey, 10 o'clock, that's right, in the Ramsey Center, 10 a.m. this Sunday. We're going to be providing you the opportunity to sign a pledge to participate in a fast with any member of First Presbyterian Church who chooses to enter into that pledge. Something that we thought would be valuable is to not only talk about fasting, but to kind of put our feet to the pavement and actually participate in a fast as a church. So you'll be invited to fast from anything of your choosing, whether it is an actual food fast, but also thinking about the other things that kind of take up space in our lives that maybe if we were to nudge to the side could provide a little bit more room for God to speak, could clear out some clutter in our own hearts and minds as we are, as you said, as a church, discerning where God is leading us in this next season of ministry here in Columbia. So it should be a very exciting, challenging service of worship, and we look forward to having everybody there with us as we make a pledge to fast for the month of July.
So have you decided what you're going to fast for?
I have not. As I check my phone screen 80 times an hour, I'm wondering if maybe a screen might be involved in my fast. So we'll see.
I did nix my Facebook account a
There you
few
go.
months ago, and so I can't give up Facebook because I've already given it up. But
Right.
but I may do the fasting from food. I may pick a particular day, a particular day throughout the month of July,
Sure.
and say from kind of a 24-hour fast, no food, just water and juice, and see what those hunger pangs tell me. Other than
Right.
hopefully it'll be edifying. I won't be grumpy.
Yeah, not too grumbly
Right,
about it.
right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we look forward to having everybody in worship as we continue to discern God's call.
See you Sunday. Goodbye.